Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of the Ford Fund and Director of the Michigan Central Development, Mary Culler.
Well, good morning. I hope that video inspired you as much as it inspires me. I have to really thank Stephen McGee, who's the documentary filmmaker, for allowing us to use that this morning. So I thought it would actually be a great start to our discussion and tee up what we want to talk to you about this morning, which is the development of the Michigan Central Development. And I want to thank the Detroit Policy Conference for inviting me here today. It's amazing to see all these people. It's such a great turnout. Since we announced this venture in 2018, we've really made great progress. I am excited to share our vision and updates, and obviously we'll be not taking any questions, but we'll be available after. It is impossible to be in Detroit without acknowledging our people and our past. This is a town of innovators. This is the city that put the world on wheels. We all know that the strength of this city is its people, always has been and always will be. The real secret to our storied history is the size of Detroiters' hearts and the scope of our dreams. As we all know, Detroiters have a unique character. We heard it before with the Lieutenant Governor. You really can't find it anywhere else. It's a mix of grit, creativity, diversity, and entrepreneurial spirit. We believe that's in Ford's DNA too. Detroit is a deep place of history, a hub of highways, waterways, and airways all coming together. Our city is one defined by transformation, time and time again. Detroit and the region provide the perfect mobility platform for what is coming next. There is absolutely no more important place in the world for mobility's past, present, and future than here. And we all need to work together to make sure we do not cede this future to anyone else. But for the Ford Motor Company, it all began here, more than a century ago. Ford was built on the idea that freedom of movement drives human progress. Together, we have done a lot to build the country and the middle class, creating living wages, 40-hour work weeks, and profit sharing. We empowered families to buy homes, educate their kids, and see them all grow up to know something better. Together, we transformed the industrial landscape. In the last century, we saw the Ford Rouge plant become the mightiest and most innovative industrial complex. In this century, with Bill Ford's vision, it became a beacon of sustainability. The perfect example of a real estate reinvention, serving as the foundation for the entire economy. And today, as our industry faces unprecedented change and disruption, we are remaking ourselves again. And I think you all know there's just so much change in the mobility industry happening right now. And we are tackling these challenges head on. Congestion, air quality, community access, and many other critical issues are waiting to be solved, and we are not waiting for anyone else to solve them for us. Our plan for the future is to open ourselves up to new ways of working, new partnerships and new offerings, from scooters to shared rides to the portfolio of products that you already know and love. To deliver on this new way of working, we turn once again to an iconic place. As you know, in June 2018, the world watched Bill Ford and Jim Hackett, our CEO, and members of the community announce our plans to renovate Michigan Central Station. I think a lot of people thought we were crazy, but everyone came out to hear the announcement. It actually generated more social media buzz than a Mustang launch, so it was clear that the world was watching. There was a real sense of hope that we could turn a long-time symbol of neglect into a symbol of progress once again. But that was just the beginning. Today, I'm here to show you that this is much more than a symbol. I'm here to share with you our vision for creating a mobility innovation district in Corktown. This will not be a typical development. It certainly won't be a typical corporate campus. This will be a vibrant, exciting, open platform for partnerships, a place where mobility innovators and disruptors from around the world come to test and launch new products and services that solve tomorrow's transportation challenges. We have to work together to work on these issues. This Mobility of Innovation District, with the station and its center, will serve as an accelerator to make sure Detroit leads the next mobility revolution. This means creating an ecosystem to explore real problems, like how will cities need to change for the arrival of autonomous connected vehicles? How might AVs reduce parking spaces demand? We all know that parking is a real challenge in big cities. How might pedestrians, bike riders, and vehicles all share the streets safely? How will we deliver packages in the future? And most importantly, how can we ensure mobility leads to new and better economic and social opportunities, not just for those who own cars, but for everyone? Access is critical. Our work in Corktown has already begun. We actually have 250 members of our autonomous vehicle team already based at the factory on Michigan Avenue. We are actively testing AVs on the surrounding streets. If you ever spend any time in Corktown, you'll see some of these cars driving around with their LiDAR on the top. And we are really going to be focusing on some critical issues in Detroit, like how these vehicles operate in bad weather. Right now, so much of the work in AVs is happening in areas where the weather is good. But the reality, that's not the case in a lot of cities. We will need a variety of solutions, including AV technology, smart infrastructure, connected vehicles, micromobility, and real-time traffic management, and much, much more. For those of you who've been wondering how we're doing on the actual construction at Michigan Central Station, I hope you've been driving by and seeing all the scaffolding on the building. It's actually really exciting. One day I was actually driving down the highway and I saw the biggest crane over the station. I knew that we were really in it. It was very exciting. So things are moving along and we're making significant progress, both at the station and in preparing for the broader footprint of this innovation ecosystem. We have stabilized the building structure. We have covered it with temporary roofs, so the good news is there's no more holes. It's not raining in there anymore. We introduced heat for the first time in 30 years. So for those of us who'd been going for the first year, we definitely always bundled up because it was extraordinarily cold in there. And we removed 650,000 gallons of water from the basement. And no Jimmy Hoffa. But we did find, interestingly enough, we found a lot of whiskey bottles buried in the walls of the station with whiskey in it. So if you come by our visitor center at the corner of Rosa Parks and Michigan, you can see those bottles and some of the things that we found there. It's fun. And that was just the beginning. So now we're in the second phase of the construction, and we've basically stabilized the building, and now we're repairing it, including fixing more than 8 acres of masonry and replacing more than 8,000 cubic feet of limestone. And what's exciting is we actually found the same limestone quarry in Indiana where the limestone came from. So we actually were able to exactly match the limestone. So it's really exciting. In this image, you can see a worker next to an original medallion. And actually, he's not short. I think he was 6 foot, actually. But the medallion is 11 feet tall. And so with sophisticated 3D modeling, we are actually going to recreate these historic details. And it's really fun to go in and see all the work that's going on. So as you can see, there's a lot to be done to return Michigan Central Station to its iconic grandeur. By bringing it back to life and preserving its history and its look and feel, I think everyone will be excited when it opens. The grand waiting room and the concourse will be filled with locally inspired retail, restaurants, and community amenities. In the main tower, with modern office spaces, so when you look up, most of those floors will be actually office spaces, but we recognize that at the very, very top, the views are spectacular. So we're actually working with hospitality and other folks to basically reimagine those 2 top floors and provide those as offerings as well. And just next door, pre-construction work is underway in the Albert Kahn designed former post office and book depository. And frankly, While there's been a lot of attention on the station, I think the Book Depository is a really exciting building. This building is going to become a mix of maker space and provide office spaces for technology providers, and is set to open in 2021. So it will be the first building to open. It will be designed in a way that cultivates open collaboration, learning, and innovation with entrepreneurs, startups, and companies working together to develop these new mobility solutions. Density, connectivity, and shared spaces is a huge consideration as we look at creating this innovation district. As many of you know, the density in Corktown is just not there. And while we're not trying to create a midtown area, there definitely needs to be more vibrancy in this particular area. So we're going to be clustering the new buildings and public areas around the station. And as you can see from this blue image, all the areas around the station in blue are actually owned by Ford, but we're going to make them open to the public. And we're going to be creating a mobility testing ground in this area that connects to some incredible assets that we think are going to be fantastic for not only the area, but for the community as well. And that includes the Roosevelt Park, which the city is working on, and also the May Creek Greenway that the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy is working on, along with the beautiful Wilson Jr. Centennial Park that is going to be an amazing asset for the city. In addition, imagine creating a regional asset that links Detroit to Michigan's other centers of innovation, research and testing, like all these fantastic places that already exist along the corridor, including the American Center for Mobility in Ypsilanti and M-City in Ann Arbor. We're actively working with the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan to explore this opportunity via a new Michigan Avenue mobility corridor. This corridor could attract wonderful mobility innovators from around the world because it could be a unique asset for the city, and it would be something that actually doesn't exist anywhere else. We believe it is vitally important that we create this unique attraction so that it will become a magnet for talent and a regional destination for mobility innovation that also highlights local businesses. We want this to be a place where the world comes to learn how to solve problems. And that's really the essence of what we're creating here. If you can imagine having a place where not only are you having all these mobility innovators, but you're actually looking at other problems that cities are facing and you're solving those. That's why we use these 5 guiding principles to drive our decision making. We know that we are moving into an existing neighborhood, one with a really, really rich history, and I think we all love that, and that's what's so wonderful about the Corktown neighborhood, and we want to honor that. We are seeking to curate a vibrant mix of tenants and talent that not only respect the past, but that explores the future. We hope we will go way beyond mobility to attract everyone from artists and entrepreneurs, and we're working with the surrounding communities to make this happen. There's no doubt that we can't do this alone. We are not a traditional developer. We are actually going to be a neighbor, and so that's really, really important for us. When people talk about what Ford's hope is, the hope is that we're going to go into this area and that we're actually going to be a neighbor to the community there. And with a shared history and one we're very proud of. So that's exciting for us. As you know, I'm also representing the company's philanthropic arm of the company, and I'm very excited and proud to be leading that team starting just this year. Obviously, the fund has actually supported communities in the city of Detroit for many, many years, and I think we have a very steep history there. And we've supported communities not only right near the station, but elsewhere. And what's exciting is that 10 years ago, we opened a Ford Resource and Engagement Center. Yay! And that engagement center actually is really just a stone's throw from the station and already offers an incredible array of wonderful programs. And so if you've never visited, I would really encourage you to go see what's going on there because it's very exciting. We are grateful for the community for welcoming us. I have to say, when we first announced this, the community embraced us in, and that was really exciting. And we are growing our commitments and communications with our neighbors beyond the Community Benefits Ordinance through meetings and other newsletters and information center, which we opened. So we have a wonderful place where you can come and see how the development is moving along. And We're showing people what's happening on a day-to-day basis. Like the Winter Festival at Michigan Central Station, which while it was during the polar vortex last year, I have to admit, it was super, super cold. It was actually really exciting to see how many people came out to support that event. And it was a great way, I mean, the whole building was digitally mapped, and the visuals on the building were incredible, so it was a really fun event. We are also collaborating with the City of Detroit and trade unions and our contractors on workforce training. Workforce training is a really important part of this program. And so in a few months, we will have more than 400 workers on the job site each day, concentrating on areas such as masonry repairs, roofing, plumbing, electrical work, and more. Michigan Central is no doubt a huge undertaking, and we can't do it alone. We want everyone in this room to come together and work on these problems in new and unexpected ways. In the past, innovation has happened behind closed doors and in silos, frankly. This is our opportunity to change that. Today, we are opening ourselves up to new partnerships and collaborations, knowing that developing future mobility solution requires working in the communities with others. Nowhere is this more important than here. We're going to have 5,000 new jobs there, including half of them Ford and half of them others. And obviously, we want folks who are problem solvers. And this won't just be for mobility companies. We want real disruptors, innovative restaurateurs, and more. Michigan Central is the perfect platform and place where you can come and see the future. And together, Ford and Detroit can continue to move the world. This will only happen if it is a place shared by many citizens and stakeholders. So I'm here to invite you to join us in this important, inspiring, and exciting work, taking on the transportation challenges of the future and solving problems. As key business and community leaders, I sincerely hope that you will join us in creating tomorrow together. Thank you.